Hello, I would like to inform you that you're about to listen to a lot of bullshit comments. So you might not agree with them, but that's the way of the world. Everyone has different opinions to you, so please don't cancel any of us. Please, and I hope you enjoy the podcast. Roll the weird shit.
Hello everybody, this is Ed Talks About Podcasts, a weekly podcast about Comic Con, cosplay and everything else. I'm your host Eddie, and this week is a bit of a substitute podcast because the idea of what I was going to do, which was the review of MegaConLive Birmingham 2024, really fell apart, and it's no one's fault. So I'll explain everything in a minute. So I'm doing a solo podcast. I'm not going to review this or recap anything of that. If you came here thinking this was the MegaCon Birmingham review, The Good, Man, the Ugly, you can still watch that. You can listen to that on my Instagram. I'll put the link into the podcast description and all that. And I'll put my guest links in this week's episode as well, because it seems unfair not to do this. But I thought I'd do another Dear Diary, I think. Another Dear Diary thing, because it's been a month. It's been something. So yeah, I just thought I'd do that. I'm going to be multitasking whilst I'm doing this, so I do apologise. So what's happened? I say a lot has happened. I actually cannot remember. One of the things that happened, right? So those who are dear listeners to the podcast might have realised one week there was no podcast. And I generally panicked. And think, oh my God, people are going to message me and go, are you right, Eddie? Is everything okay? And things like that. But no one messaged me, and I'm going, oh, I'm not that important. And I know I shouldn't think like that, and I don't think like that really. But it was just that was a bit weird that, like I said, I've done 100 and odd, over 190 episodes. I'm really looking forward to doing the 200th one, and yeah, I got nothing. No one messaged to check I was okay or not, and I wasn't okay. Basically, I got ill. I got very ill. It only seemed to last like 48 hours, 72 hours, but I was coughing, body was aching. I was just so ill, just couldn't believe it. And what I had planned for that day or that week, I just couldn't do it. I was so tired, and so I wasn't the illest I've been. The illest I've been. Oh God, what was it? This is about 15 years ago. It's about 15. Yeah, about 15 years ago, I think. Yeah, about that. Oh no, maybe less than that. Between 10 to 15 years. Basically, what happened was, I must have caught the flu. And oh God, I'm so embarrassed to talk about this. Oh God, okay. I remember having a waking dream. I was really lucid at the time. And, oh God, I'm going to sound like a madman. I mean, more than a madman. But basically what happened was that I remember half waking up and had my eyes closed. And I remember that distinctly. And remember just thinking, I need to. I was both hot and cold at the same time. You know, I wanted to be covered up with my blanket to keep warm, but I was so sweating and hot from having the flu that I wanted the covers off. So in my head, I dreamt that I asked scientists to figure out a way to get me both hot, well, warm with the duvet, but cold with the duvet off. And I think I get flip-flopping between taking the covers off and then back on, because I think the scientists in my head. No, I'm not saying there's scientists in my head. I dreamt I was with scientists in an actual laboratory. I think like one of those, like the early eras of cinema where they depict mad scientist labs with big, giant electro balls and electricity flowing between the two balls. That type of laboratory. And there was like a whole host of them, and I think I might have dreamt that they were part of the UN somehow. I don't know. I was very, very ill that day, that night even. And I it's so weird. It was so weird. But I asked the scientist to try to work out how to keep me both hot, warm and cold, and yeah, lo and behold, it didn't work out that well. I think I eventually did fall back to sleep, but I just remember just waking up, definitely determined to keep my eyes closed, just keep them closed, and just work out. And I remember every moment of that dream, and I don't know why. I wanted. Well, one, I don't know why I'm telling people about it, but secondly, yeah. Oh, jeez, yeah. So yeah. You can call me an idiot. You can call me crazy. Those are legitimate things. You now know. If you are listening to this podcast, you are definitely, yeah. All right. So let me tell you why this podcast is in place of the podcast, that of the review. So what happened is that one of my guests, we're having technical issues, and we're trying everything we can, and the usual software I use, for some reason, usually guarantee works, didn't work. I don't usually have a backup plan, because that usually is that it works, and we were just having so much trouble. And I had the idea anyway that I was going to do an Instagram live and take the audio of that and then put that as the thing. So in a sense, in my brain, I thought, right, let's kill two birds with one stone and record the podcast live on Instagram and see how it goes. But one of my guests, as if you ever watch the Instagram live, you'll hear the audio. If you read her lips, you can work out what she's saying or get close to the earphones. But the way I was trying to do it, I was trying to boost the audio, clean up the audio with using a bit of Adobe AI and trying to clean up the audio. It was very choppy, and it was very distracting to listen. So I decided to, rather than try to edit the whole whole podcast audio, just leave it on Instagram. So like I said, if you want to go and listen to it in full, it's about an hour. It's about an hour and a half long. I didn't realise we were talking that long on it, but it was a really good chat. So just to describe, and I will talk about it a little bit as well. But basically, we had Oily of Vaughan of the Dead and CJ Diddams, and I wasn't there, but my other two guests were, and it I don't want to spoil it if you want to listen to it in full, but the summary of it was that MegaConLive still needs to do a lot more to kind of earn its status. I think is probably a fair statement. Not to say it's a bad con, but it's now in its third Birmingham iteration, and like I said, they do so many. They've done other locations such as Manchester and Dublin, but I think if it was just the Birmingham one, if it was just MegaConLive or MCLs, I'm trying to keep calling it because MegaConLive seems a bit mouthful, but MCL, if this was a third Birmingham one, full stop, I kind of go, all right, they're still trying to find their feet, they're trying to get going, but it's not that it's their third attempt. They've had 2 events in Manchester, they've had 2 or 3 events in Dublin, they've had 1 event in London. So, in a sense, they're coming to double digits now, and it feels like they should know by now how to create these events. And it's not a secret that the owner of MCL used to be the owner of MCM. And I do take the point that people do enjoy this event because how low the crowds are. You can still shop around. In a sense, the one real positive about it is that there's so many vendors there that you can pick and choose from. But off the back of that podcast, I was watching a few TikTok videos from vendors, and their point of view was that some broke even, and a lot of them really, really didn't. And it's a shame that a lot of them didn't break even. And there's different interpretation about breaking even and things like that. If I can find it, I will also post the video or the link from Jala's. But I put, again, Forgive me if I butcher his name. If someone could one of these days tell me how to pronounce his name, that'd be great. But he really got... he posted a video where he said, do you know what? I'm not going to do a video because you all are a bit... you're all a bit shitty in the comments on other people's vendors, so why should I? And I totally agree with him. He does what he needs to do. He's up to him to do. But watch that video because... And it's not just unique to vendors and anyone else. Everyone's in the same boat. That, money is scarce. You've got to, apply your money, put your money where you can, where you need to. Like, people need to put money into their rent, their food, their utility bills and things like that. Totally understand that. And, and I said on the podcast, you got to get thrifty. You got to get thrifty. Like, I try to, charge my phone at work, my camera batteries and things like that. But if people are also being kind of thrifty and things like that, obviously they're going to a con and they spent so much money getting the ticket to it, they may not have money to buy things inside. So as much as there's a greater variety of vendors at the event compared to previous years, if people are not spending money, what's the point of these vendors being there? And it's like I said, I know it's a tough year. I know everyone's going for the same turmoil, where where you're choosing where to spend your money. But as a byproduct of what they said, it kind of backs up to what I was saying on the podcast. But like I said, it's I can't blame people for being thrifty and not spending the money to get a ticket for the event, when if you cosplay and you're just there for photos, you can just stay outside the barriers and get photos that way. You can walk that further away from the event and get away with it. And I'm not damning people for doing that. From the total opposite, I'm just want to highlight that if one of these days you wake up and going, oh, MCL are saying they're not doing Birmingham, I wonder why. That will probably be one of the reasons, because they'll go, there's a lot of foot traffic around the NEC, but why wasn't any of it inside MegaConLive? It's a bit weird. I really want to support this event. I really want to put my money at this event, but for me, I know I keep saying this, and I know people are starting to get bored of hearing this. I can't see the value of the money that for me I'm getting, and I know everyone else is getting the value for money, and that's good for them. I'm not here to tell other people how to live their lives and spend their money and spend what what experience they're allowed to experience, things like that. I'm hoping people allow me to have my voice, to say my piece, and then go, all right, Eddie has an opinion. Don't agree with him, but I'm going to let him have his opinion. And that's what I want. I just want people to listen to me, and that's it. And I really generally find the event just does not cater to my needs. And that's why I found it such a struggle to really find the enthusiasm to go. I think another thing was because one of my friends who I usually go with wasn't going, and we usually have a hoot together, and the thought of not going together, and also I think with our chats together, we weren't excited to go. Like, if you compare to MCM Birmingham in December time, we were really waiting to go. We couldn't wait to go. We got the hotels. Yeah, it's expensive, but we were gagging to go. We already booked the restaurants to have evening meals and things like that. Everything. This time we were just like, have you got? Yeah, we got a hotel. Oh, I don't even know. You got a ticket? Oh, I'm not going to apply for a press part. Should we get a ticket? Things. It just wasn't. It doesn't. I could feel the enthusiasm in neither of us had it. Well, I say feel the lack of enthusiasm for it. So I just felt, I wasn't too enthusiastic about it. So hopefully you can. I hopefully do spend a bit of time to watch that Instagram live thing. I do want to do more Instagram lives, if I'm honest, with people and take the audio. I'm just going to be very careful how the audio sounds. Now that I've done it once, if I'm going to do it again, I'm going to make sure audio quality is good all round. I'm not going to just take a chance that, oh, it's fine. And I really got to stop being that type of person where I say, oh, I can deal with that later, because sometimes I can't, and I've got to know my limitations about what I think I know and what I can do and things like that. So yeah, But I truly hope that people who went to MegaConLive, Birmingham, those who enjoyed it, did enjoy it, and that's fine. I hope, really glad you did. Like I said, we do need more events like MCL, Wales Comic Con, the Monopoly events, things like that, to really challenge and just really, as much as I love MCM, and I have said this before, they're also getting a bit complacent, and they do need to up their game. As much as I said, I feel like I get more value for money, not by much, not by much. They're not any real different to any other event. If not, it's not. It's a bit. It's just known for being the biggest rather than it's known for something. Whereas at least you take Wales Comic Con, they really get the big stars. Things like that. Showmasters, they also get like current stars, stars of yesteryears and things like that from both film and TV. It's things like that. At least they've got an identity. Both MegaCon Live and MCM, in a sense, kind of don't have a. Not I'm saying they don't have an identity, but they lack of a bit of a strong identity. Anyway, I'm going to stop babbling about that. But there were some goods, there were some bads. And I try not to put too much of my viewpoint for what I didn't see or experience whilst I wasn't there. I only based it on things I either saw online or I saw videos of, and it's. I like to think it will be there next year, but I don't know if it's going to be. If it will, we always say this. Oh, I don't know if it's going to be back next year. It's like, I think it has to be a real clusterfuck for it not to be there the following year, I think. So yeah. Because they've already announced the dates for next year's London event, so I wouldn't be surprised the Birmingham one it doesn't follow soon after. So I was ill with that. So sorry, what have I talked about so far? I've been ill. I've talked about why there's this podcast rather than that podcast. What else have I been up to? I've done a couple of photo shoots. Some independent. Not independent. They're all independent. Jesus Christ, Daddy. What I mean is, I've done some photo shoots solo with a model and with a group of people. Unfortunately, none of them are for the food and cosmetics for my other brand, HKC. I'm not saying the other brand and just leave it at that, just as Andy pointed out in my other podcast. But yeah, it's oh, how much do I reveal? No, I'm going to try to be vague. But basically, I can tell you the solo one, which is easy. Purple Muffins, we're friends. We've shot many times together, and for a while she dropped off the radar. I didn't know. I didn't want to inquire too much. I knew she was fine and safe and all that, but I didn't want to inquire too often about and being too pushy about, oh, when can we shoot and things like that. Like I've always said, if they're busy and they can't reply back, just let them be. You don't need no one owes me an answer to why someone doesn't reply to me. I might be busy and they might be going, oh, why doesn't Eddie reply to me? I hope they would think, oh, because Eddie's busy. He's not always looking at his phone and doesn't have time or the energy to know what to write back. Things like that. But yeah, we did a shoot in London. And it was really good to do that type of photography with someone like Purple Muffins. I've always said to myself, shooting with people who know how they like to be posed, how they're going to move, how they pose themselves in front of the camera, just makes a whole lot easier just to press the shutter button and things like that. And it's really interesting because for a while it was a running joke that I only shoot with her once a year, and I didn't shoot with her last year. Already this year I've already shot with her twice, and it sounds like I might shoot with her a third time this year. So I've got one in the bank possibly late in the year for this happens. But it's really. But the reason why I mentioned the years is because I've recently upgraded my camera from a Canon 6D to a Canon R6 Mark II. And it's really interesting because Pineapple Muffins went, "Is that a new camera?" I went, "Yes." I said, "How do you know?" She goes, "I can't hear it at all. I can't hear you clicking." I'm going, "Oh God, yeah, of course I forgot." So I've now got to remind myself to every so often shout, "Change!" Click, 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 click. Change! Click, 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 click. Change! Things like that. So it was so weird because it sounds like I'm one of those douchey photographers who like bark orders like that. And I may be a douchey photographer, but I don't want to sound like that type of douchey photographer. Things like that. But it was so... It really, really was fun. Before I talk about the other shoot I was doing, I would like to say that if anyone likes to shoot with me with their cosplays, or if you hear someone going, "Oh, I wish I could shoot a photographer on location," things like that, drop me a message, or get them to drop me a message. You know, I would like to be paid, but if you can't pay, we can make an arrangement. Okay, you know, we can discuss about it and say, "All right, that's fine. We can do a TFP," or "All right, just buy me a meal." That's all I ask. I really don't ask for much. You know, I know it's been said on a different podcast, but I'll say it again. If you're going to hire a photographer for TFP or for little money, try to offer something a little bit extra, like buy them meal, buy them some snack, buy them a drink. All right. Some might go, "Oh, that's a bit cheap," but some people will really appreciate that. Some people will really appreciate that, and you know, I've been doing. Do I call it amateur photography still? I don't know. It's weird to still call myself an amateur. I wouldn't even want. I don't know. I don't want to call myself professional, nor do I want to say semi-pro. It's weird. I mean, I might put throw up a question. Do you know what? After this podcast, I'm gonna throw up a question on Instagram Live and maybe on the Twitter and say, "How would you class me as a photographer?" But I just say photographer. I don't say I'm an amateur photographer. Well, I used to, but not anymore. But I just say photographer. I'm a photographer of over 10 years experience. Doesn't mean 10 years of good experience, just 10 years of experience. So yeah, yeah. Anyway, why did I start talking about that? Can't remember now. But anyway, but no, shooting with Purple Muffin was so much fun. It just reminded me how much I enjoyed location shoots. Just to say, I've shot now under Waterloo Station, Leek Street, so that's now off my list for this year. I can't go back to it until a year later. The reason why I do that, I should explain that to people. The reason why I do that, it's the same reason about the Grey Walls, or trying to shoot, not trying to shoot in the same location at the XL all the time, because I want to push my skill sets and my imagination and how I process an idea in my head. And I like to think... Oh, hello. Sorry, I don't know if you heard that, but there's one of my phones going off. But yeah, I think I don't want to be, in a sense, complacent, or I don't want to use this word lazy, but become lazy about where I shoot people. I want to always be thinking on my feet, always try to gauge what's in front of me and go, right, let's do this, let's do that, let's go here, let's go there. Same thing about location shoots. Like, as much as to go, "Oh my god, I love shooting in Leech, can we go there?" If I've already done it once within a calendar year, I do think, "Oh, should I go again?" And I really have to think about saying, do I or shouldn't I? Or can we find another urban place similar to that? So, you know, again, it makes me make me explore London a little bit more, or the other locations a little bit more. And I really do implore you, if you're a photographer, try not to fall in the trap of being in one spot, taking photos all day, every time, or picking the same location all the time, because there's only so much you can do, and you'll get into a rhythm of doing the same thing over and over again, and you'll be happy within that box of saying, "I know this location, I know how to do it, I know how to set up this light, bam, bam." And again, there's nothing wrong with that, where you know what you're doing and you recycle your stuff. But at the same token, I feel that, you know, it doesn't make you think. But so, yeah. So I'm always looking for new locations. And talking about new location, boy oh boy, was I in a new location. I can't really go into too much detail. Not that I'm under an embargo or anything like that. It's more about my own self. I try to keep my two brands as separate as possible. So I keep food and cosplay as one thing and HKC another thing. And I do appreciate that people who look at cosplay stuff just want to look at cosplay stuff. They don't want to look at anything else. They don't need to see all this sexy thing. And again, nothing wrong with doing sexy stuff or things like that. But I do appreciate that people might only just want to see cosplay stuff, and if they want to see sexy stuff, then they can go to other pages and things like that. And also, I like to think that my two pages have its own unique identities. They don't, and if I know where my photos go, either one or the other, and if there's anything in between, I'm fucked. But no, basically it was a studio in North London, where Walthamstow. That's it. It's in the Walthamstow area, and hopefully those who know or can work it out, you can work out what studio I was at. But it was a, how do I put this delicately? It's a working dungeon. Let's put it that way. It was a working dungeon, and we had the whole venue to ourselves, just taking photos. I had 4 models. Do I reveal? No, I'm going to keep that secret. I'm going to keep that quiet. But 2 of them I've worked before, and the other 2 I've never worked before. And I always get excited about both working in a new location and also working with new people. But again, because it really informs me, how I interact with new people, about, okay, how do I talk to someone maybe who doesn't understand how I work? How do I communicate with someone where they've got needs that I don't understand or agree with, shall we say, and things like that. Or like anything, if someone's got a height difference to me, how do I deal with that? And I always think, damn it, I wish I had a footstool with me or a flight case I can just stand on, so it gives me that little extra height. And things like that. So, it was a really fun day. There are some things I don't think it's either going to see the light of day, or if it does see the light of day, I've got to do a lot of things where I've got to censor it so that social media does not have a complaint about it. Because I think someone did try to put something up online and it just went, nope, and I went, oh, okay, lesson learned from proxy of learning from someone else. So I've got to learn from that and remember that when I get a chance to post these photos. But again, this was talking about pushing boundaries and things like that. This set of photos really pushed my boundaries about how I see photos from both how other people have treated that situation and how I dealt with it as well. And I was just trying to be as inventive as possible and trying to be as imaginative as possible. And it really did push my boundaries, because there were certain things that I took photos of I wasn't entirely comfortable with. Nothing illegal or anything that I would have said broke boundaries, shall we say? No, that doesn't make sense. Hang on, I will make sense. It sounds like everyone else was happy and comfortable doing it, and that was fine. I don't think this was. Let's put it this way. Now I think of the word. This wasn't a style I ever thought I would photograph, nor did I consider wanting to photograph. But I'm glad it's part of my portfolio. But I don't think I would personally seek it out. I'm being very cryptic about it. I'm doing it for certain reasons. So if you ever see these photos and if you ever HKC and you see these photos are blurred on social media and not elsewhere, this is what I'm referring to. So things like that. Again, I'm just glad I was really glad I was given the opportunity to do something like this, because I spent many years wanting to do photo shoots on location, be asked to do it, and it felt like I wasn't going anywhere with it. And I'm going, I've got to do something about it, and I almost gave up. But it turned out that I got to stop waiting for people to chase me. I decided to chase other people, and you know, I've got to learn that I will get no, you know, 9 out of 10. I'll get those will be no's. What it will take one person to say yes to me, and it's starting to work now. And I'm not trying to tell people if you bug 100 people, one of them will say yes. I mean, yes, ask, but also know your boundaries about if you're overstepping the mark and things like that. And do accept a no if they say no, and don't get pissy about it. Go, oh, they don't. And it was like, no, they may be just busy and things like that. Remember, you only see a segment of something. You don't see the whole picture. And you don't realise there may be so many more things behind it that you never realise, and you won't know, and it's not you to know or find out and things like that. So anyway, sorry, these are the things I tell myself. That's what I'm saying. I've just realised how long this podcast is going for, but what else was I going to say very quickly? I'm looking forward to next month. If anyone knows what next month is, it's as I call it, it's literally my birthday month. It's literally the month of my birthday. The whole of April, I'm not one of these people that try to celebrate my birthday on multiple days or a week long. I do celebrate my birthday on the one day, on April 13th. But the same token, I just love celebrating my birthday. I just love it. I've already got a studio booked out ready. I've got my models. I've got my photographers that I'll be spending my day with. I love doing this type of photography on my birthday. I might skip it next year or do something else different with my photography, but I just love doing it because people always say do what you enjoy, and I enjoy it. I enjoy being in the studio, being creative, spending with the people either I know or enjoy working with, and yeah, I have a great time. I can't wait for that to happen. I'll probably do a few Instagram lives actually that day just to see, how show the people the day that goes. So feel free to join in on that day. It'll be throughout the day. You'll hopefully get a notification and things like that. What else is happening? I'm not really much more than that on my birthday. I'm going to a few theatre shows next month. So I'm going to see The Mind Mangler. I've been meaning to see this show. So I missed out seeing the magic the magic show that goes wrong. I missed it, and I really was gutted not to be able to see it because I saw a clip on YouTube of the Mind Mangler set, and I really was wetting myself with laughter. And when I missed out seeing it in the West End, I went, I'm never going to see it. So when this came up, I went, right, I've got to buy tickets for it. So I'm looking forward to that. There's another theatre show I'm going to see, the Minority Report stage show, which I want to see how it translates from the book. I've been told it's from the book version rather than the movie version, which probably makes more sense. So yeah, I'm really looking forward to that, and I'll hopefully report back. I don't know when I'm next going to do a Dear Diary, so I don't know if I remember. I don't want to do a Dear Diary every month, but if I have to, I will. Because if I'm honest, I do want to be a bit more open with people, share things with people, and again, talking to someone about this, I didn't realise how closed off I was, and I generally thought I was quite an open person, but clearly I'm not. So yeah, I'm just trying to be a bit more open with my life and things like that. I'm trying to think anything else. I still don't know if I've got tickets, my press pass tickets for MCM. I'm going to check now. Hang on, let me just quickly check something else. Yeah. Boyo! If only you knew what that was about. Right, okay, so what am I doing? I doubt they'll actually email me in the middle of the night. And I mean middle of the night is literally, I'll tell you the time, it's Tuesday, 10:49, just to give you an idea of the current news. From what I understand, hang on. England drew 2-2 with Belgium. I don't know how Wales are doing. It's their playoff. Seems like they lost. Hang on. Can't see the score for that. This is bad. Oh no! Wait, what? What? No! Give me score. Give me score. Look, Wales lost. Okay. Oh. 4-5. What? Oh, this went to penalties. Right. Okay. That makes more sense now. What was the score draw? Was it a score? Was it a draw? Sorry, this is very exciting. I know this is very interesting. Those who enjoy football. 0-0. It was 0-0. Right. Okay. Right. Cool. So, it's now 10:50 now. So I'm going to quickly add the intro and the outro for this, and go for it. Hopefully, normal service resumes soon. I've already got something booked with one guest. I need to like make up with someone because I keep booking them and then not doing it because we do it on a Friday. We book it for a Friday. I'm just too tired on a Friday and I just want to go to sleep. So I'm going to have to talk to them and say, I know we keep booking this on a Friday. Do you still want to do it? And also, can we not do it on a Friday? So yeah, we'll sort that out. I will sort that out. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this podcast, this Dear Diary. Unfortunately, I don't have time to do a podcast extra. And yeah, so who knows? But hopefully you'll hear a new podcast next week, a proper one. Just a reminder, if you want to listen to the review of MegaConLive Birmingham, go to the Instagram Live or look at the show notes, the podcast description. That's where it will be. Their links will be in there just as a point of reference and things like that. But yeah, let's end the podcast. Yeah. So if you need to find me on the social medias, you go to foodandcosplay.org/links. You'll find all my social media links such as Threads, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, Tumblr. Is there another one? Facebook. That's it. That's Facebook. Yep. If you go to foodandcosplay.org, generally you'll find cosplay photos that I posted daily, articles. Hopefully my schedule for MCM London for May. If you go to foodandcosplay.org/podcast, you'll find other recorded podcasts with Oily for One of the Dead. I'll hopefully bring CJ Diddens back again, but with other guests, with other subjects. If you go to patreon.com/foodandcosplay, you'll find podcast extras that I've recorded with other guests. Unfortunately not for this one, like I mentioned earlier, but yeah, there'll be other podcast extras. But that does remind me. I almost forgot. So, just a shout out to, sorry, I didn't mean to snap my fingers like that. Metalhead Swifty, you donated, you are subscribed to my Patreon. I do really appreciate your input to that. That's really helped. I'm going to put that money into the podcast hosting of this because it's not free to host podcasts, but I really do appreciate it. Thank you very much for your input. And I've shot with you before at a Comic-Con, so I hope to, see you at Comic-Con soon, and everyone else as well. And on that note, I'm going to let me say that again. I'm going to say goodbye, and yeah, that's just me signing out. Ta-ra!